Welcome back to the channel today. In today's video, I'm currently in the Lake District. I'm in mainly the central Lake District, staying currently in Ambleside today, but at the moment I'm currently about halfway up Loughrigg Fell. It's a fell that I've been wanting to climb for quite a while, and it was a fell that I actually was going to climb back in my video in January, where I was greeted with some cracking, some absolutely fantastic conditions, with fog and mist and fog, and it was such a brilliant conditions. So it was actually a better day to actually stay down low and photograph the lake and round about Windermere. So it was that was a change of plan. So it's finally took me 8 or 9 months to actually get up this fell, and I can honestly say I'm so glad that I did it. As you can probably tell from me, I'm not the most experienced fell walker in the world, and for some photographers and fell walkers out there, this might be a walk in the park, but for me it's a real accomplishment for me, because I can honestly count on the number of fingers, the number of hills and fells that I've climbed in the Lake District, and this is one to tick off the list. What I've done for the moment at this area is I've got my camera out and I've actually got my telephoto lens on. I think one of the good things about where I am now is that you're going to be able to pick out little parts of different fells, and pick out some of the cloud formations, because there's clouds coming over the hills, and they're absolutely fantastic. So I've cracked out the telephoto lens, and I'm just gonna spend some time picking out various parts of this landscape. So I'll see you in a moment. Welcome back. As you can probably see, it's a few hours later from when I last posted, when I took that earlier image this morning. I did successfully climb up Loughrigg Fell, and I really enjoyed going up there. I didn't quite find any compositions that I was really happy with. It's sort of, the weather went slightly overcast, and it went very blue skies, and it just it wasn't a situation. It wasn't a time that I was very happy with. So I decided to have a wander around, and then decide to descend back down the fells. So obviously, what I've done today is I've come out for sunset tonight. I'm not too sure whether I'm going to get a good sunset tonight. At the moment, I'm a little bit. I'm on the edge of Lake Windermere, a little bit further down from Waterhead Pier, just down the road from Ambleside. And what I did was when I noticed when I was driving when I was coming in here on the bus to go up to Waterhead coming from Windermere, I noticed on the side of the road these lovely trees, and also I was quite then go by the bench behind me. It's a really quirky bench and a really nice position. So that's what drew me to this area here, and I can imagine it's one of those places that you don't really know about, and it's not a place that's quite shot very well, but I do quite like that bench and it has drawn me to it. But the first composition I'm really working on today is this one I've got in front of me here. So what I'm actually doing for this shot here is that I'm using these trees as a little bit of a frame to frame some of the fells that show right into the distance on the other side of Windermere. It's a bit of a tricky scene in the fact that the light above the fells is very bright and the trees are very dark. So I'm a bit undecided as to whether to use the trees, completely put them into shade and shadow, or to do both, or to basically bracket the shots and take 3 different exposures and try to blend them to get an alternate exposure. I'm quite liking the trees actually completely in darkness. I am liking that at the moment. So what I'll do is I'm going to take both shots anyway and expose them for both a bracketed shot and a normal shot with the trees into shade, and then decide later what image to use in the video, and obviously what image to bracket. I think we're quite lucky in modern technology and the cameras that we've got, where we can take multiple images and and choose the images later. I think we are quite lucky in the fact that we're I do shoot bits of film, and I know that you have to really be very selective with images when you shoot film. So what I'll do with this image is I'll take a number of shots and then I'll decide what I want to do later. So so what you'll probably do is you'll probably see the finished completed image. Final shot of the day. I found this really gnarly bit of, it must be a bit of broken branch that's off this tree just above me. It's fell in the water, and it's in front of 2 rocks, and it's making a really good composition for a long exposure. I think what we tend to do is, especially in places like where I am now in the Lake District, is that we spend so much time looking at the glorious scenery and the hills, is that sometimes we forget to look at where what's directly in front of us or what's below our feet. So this composition here, I'm using this tree. It's basically as a bit of a diagonal, so it's cutting from one corner to the other, and that's quite a well-known technique in compositions to use diagonals. It actually takes the viewer into the image, so it's used quite a lot in landscapes to to basically draw. You could have, say, a foreground interest, say rock in the foreground, and then a bigger hill or a mountain in the background, and you could use a diagonal to draw the eye from the rock up to the mountain, and it's obviously a well-used technique, and I think it makes great photographs. So it's something to try, you know, if you want to learn at least one, you know, new technique in composition, is to actually use diagonals, and I don't think it matters which way you go the diagonal, but obviously it has to go from from top to bottom or left to right. It has to be a certain way. You can't just do it obviously across your frame. That might not work, but obviously if you're going from the bottom corner to the top corner, or that probably will work. But obviously I think compositions rules are there to be experimented with and to be broken. They're great for getting that initial image right, but obviously sometimes if you need to change an image, or you need to make an image look slightly different, then obviously you can play around with the composition rules. I think rules are the wrong words for compositions or rules. I think it should be guidelines or techniques, really, compositions. I think they're there to be used, to get a good image, but they can be played about with and broken to get the right image. So what I've done with this tree here is that I've actually popped on my 6-stop filter. The 10 stops making it a little bit too dark. It's a bit of too long of an exposure at the moment, and it's making it a little bit too dark. But also what I'm doing is I'm using these little stones that are leading into the water. There's a little bit of interest in the corner to lead you into the actual branch that's here. And I think it's a composition that's working well. I have used a square crop because using any other crop, because there's actually part of the tree and a rock here, and there's another few rocks here. I think it would be adding these rocks. They tend to overlap just the frame, the outside of the frame, which I think can be very distracting. So it's always important to have as less details in your frame as possible. Have one solid subject, and then try to keep things away from the edge of the frame. So that's the reason why I've gone for the square crop. I think I'm gonna call it a day for today. It's very cloudy here, so I don't think I'm gonna get the sunset I was quite looking for. I've wanted to come and visit this part of Windermere again, because it was a video that I was here for at the beginning of January, and it's a place that I really did fall in love with. It's a really wonderful place, and it's dead easy for me to get to on public transport. So it's a place that I've wanted to come, but obviously I think with the way the world is at the moment, and I think the restrictions that we're going to have imposed on us, say over the next, maybe 2 or 3 months up to Christmas, I think that, I think we're going to get to a point where us landscape photographers are really going to struggle to go and do this type of thing. So it's nice to come here before we get the restrictions put on us. I live in one of the areas where I think we're gonna be. I live in the Liverpool City area, so I think we're going to be one of the very first places that are going to have the restrictions put on us to basically lock us down to stop us going in and out of the area. You may even have found that by the time you're watching this video that we've already had them restrictions put on us. So I think it's nice to get out and get this done before we get locked down. I think it's important for us to do those lockdown restrictions, get it out, get this whole situation out of the way, over and done with. Let's get back to some normality, and hopefully 2021 will be a fantastic year for us photographers. I think it's going to be a really good year. So I've got my fingers crossed that everything gets back to normal come next summer. So yeah, so I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for watching the video again today. I do apologise for not posting over the last. My posting schedule's been pretty irregular over the last 12 months, and it's something I'm properly hoping to rectify. I've just gone through phases of not being inspired to make videos, being restricted from going out and making videos. So hopefully I'm going to try and get back into making proper regular videos. Some of them might be from my office doing tutorials and techniques, some of them might be out in the field. The one thing that I think I'm going to do with, if the restrictions come in, is I think I'm going to start exploring my local area a bit more. I think I'm lucky in the fact that there is quite a bit of we do have quite a bit of countryside near where we live. A few of the historic canals that run through the area from the old coal mining days. So I think there's places that I can explore over the next 6 months or so that are probably within 20 minutes of where I live. So I'm going to try and make a video every week and get out, explore my own area and see what I can find and see what compositions and images I can make. So hopefully I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. And if you do like what you see, please leave a comment below. A thumbs up or a subscribe would be great. And I hope to see you again next time.